Welcome everybody, it's tractorchute here for the third Game of Friday challenge. In the lower left hand corner, representing our red terror, it's going to be PQD. He will be playing a man that appears to be where I am from, which is Canada. I am Canadian. In the upper left hand corner playing is the blue Protoss. So he will also be limited for any warp gate technology. We definitely have a lot of submitters that apparently felt no warp gate was the easiest way to go, because this is 3 out of 4. We got one more to come up, and I do believe the last one will be a Zerg, so we'll get a little bit different of a race in the last game, which will be kind of a nice change. So we are going to stand here and get the super early scout, it does look like here. Maybe not, he's just looking to plant down the pylon. So I am Canadian, obviously looking to get that nice early expos. This is an easy map to do it on Akalon Waste. So he's going to build up pylon. He's going to stand there at the same time, maybe not realizing he can go do something else while the pylon builds. But either way there, maybe he didn't want to move him out, so he will stand by the pylon. In the meantime, their opponent is going to do the standard wall off, getting himself out the good old supply depot. A little bit late on that supply depot, but to each their own. PQD. And PQD is going to wait till he has enough money for that barracks, which he has had for a little while here. So I'd have to imagine that's going to come down next. Or maybe we'll go with the second supply depot first instead there. Maybe really mad that he supply blocked himself. Who knows? But at the other end there, it does look like iAmCaNaDiAn is electing to make this the builder probe. So he will be the head honcho. We'll continue to stand around while his buildings build and continue to build one by one here. So he does get the forge into the gateway. And I would have to imagine another pylon will go down at some point in time. Or maybe even a nice early cannon. We'll soon find out here. It does look like a pylon is the choice, so we get double pylon. Make sure we don't have any Artosis pylons up there, and we'll get that probe right back to work here. There we go. Full wall off does finish as expected, so he does have the supply depot slash barracks up there, and is getting himself one gas as well. So PQD going to get somewhat of an early gas. I am Canadian, no need for gas as of yet, and we'll wait for that gateway to finish up there. And I have to imagine we are going to see some cannon to finish that wall off there. At least one more gateway and a cannon in the back. And he will come down here. The head honcho builder probe will put the cannon as the part of the wall off here. Fairly interesting there. But not that there is a set way to make that wall. But either way, he's going to plant the cyber core over there. Fairly interesting. So cyber core will be a little bit backed off of all of this here. Will be powered by the one pylon. And in the meantime, their opponent is electing to get himself a second gas. So going very heavy on the gas here fairly early. And getting an orbital command out as well here. So there we go. We are going to plant ourselves down a bunker, which will sit right in behind all this. Wouldn't mind seeing the bunker maybe a little bit closer to the top of the ramp, so it can at least get some range. But either way, like I say, that's not set in stone either. You can build it wherever the hell you want. So he will do so, and does look like we are finally getting gas down for iAmCaNaDiAn. And the orbital has finished up over here. If we take a look at the units tab, you can see we have a whopping marine on the court here, and 17 to 11. Wowzer! We are not pissing around. We are moving at the speed of turtles here, which is nice to see. I always like to see that low APM. Makes me excited to see what's going to happen, because it usually relates somewhat to skill level, and I always like the lower end skill level. They make for pretty funny games. Higher end skill level makes for high impact action games. But you could also get that as long as you have equal opponents, like I always say. If both you guys are equal, then you always get a half decent game out of it here. So we'll pull up our good old proto tab one more time here. We do see a second bunker is going down. Wow, very heavy. It looks like we are turtling up. A little bit surprised he didn't look to maybe turtle up down here and get himself at least the option of putting an expansion down here. But either way, maybe he wants to work this off of one base. In the meantime, there it does look like iAmCaNaDiAn continue to work off of one base here. So nothing special as of yet out of him here. Double gas is down, but with the wall off down here does give him that option, and he will elect to take that there. He does question mark something here. Not entirely sure what we were question marking at all here, but he is apparently confused. Not entirely sure why. Alright, iAmCaNaDiAn, you're going to move yourself out with that probe there. Sorry, graphics change. Oh, maybe it was a pause in the game. I'm not entirely sure what they ended up doing there. More than likely it was a pause in the game there. So it does look like we are getting iAmCaNaDiAn. We'll get up there. We'll realize there is a full wall off, which is expected when you're scouting this late. But at the very least, he will know his opponent has not expanded. So we'll get that intel and loses the probe right away there. Oh, okay. Good call, was lagging. Okay, his opponent was just pissing around the menu without pausing the game. There you go. So we will get the gas going down at his expansion as well. Has the stalker there to finish that wall off. And has almost, oh, he did supply block himself actually pretty much there. So both these guys riding really good here, 25 to 24 on the food count at the 6-minute mark. Not overly impressive, but at the same time there, to each their own. When you're low level league, we don't expect you to be all that great. And we are going to get ourselves an engineering bay. I do believe one of these guys was, I believe both of them were unranked actually, to be honest with you. So I actually don't know what rank they are. But based on what we've seen so far, I can almost determine we are pretty much in the bronze level here. or at least very close to it. Silver at the very best, but that might be a stretch. So we are going to finish up with our expansion here. Nice little probe transfer down there. Do like to see that. Usually you want to get a nice early good probe transfer to keep yourself at about 14 per base, which 14 to 16 anyways, and that's pretty much what he's done there. He's going to give himself out a robo facility, so that's going to be his choice. We're going to go gateway right into a robo. Very interesting here. Only working off of one gateway, and we will work double robo. Wowzer. So definitely looking to get into possibly some Immortals or some Colossi here. Does give himself the second Stalker out there. Wouldn't mind seeing him get a Sentry down, as he has very limited units at the 7-minute 45 mark. They would definitely help with some early defense. Not that he needs it by the looks of his opponent, PQD. PQD pissed off when he got supply blocks, so he's apparently going to use this one SCV to build himself 5 different supply depots there. Also gets himself a turret down there. Wouldn't mind getting that guy a hand there, but apparently not. Doesn't need a hand. He's just going to continue building all that himself here. Has his command center down here. Has the SCV that built it stand. Is that SCV set to build the turret too? Wow, that is going to be one busy SCV here, since we do have a turret that's going to be ready to go down there. And there we go. Double Stalker's going to come in. They're going to see they have their opponent locked down the one base. That's going to make iAmCaNaDiAn feel pretty good, knowing he's been on 2 base for a substantial time now. He's been on 2 base for about the last 2-3 minutes almost here. So we'll get a second assimilator going down, as he will need a lot of gas. Holy Christ. We're going into 3 robos with a robo bay there, so maybe a little bit heavy, but if you're not going heavily on the gateway units as well there, you can definitely probably get away with that on 2 base. So we will continue to basically patrol those Stalkers, keep control of the low ground here. Opponent in the meantime there has almost amassed enough to fill up 2 whole bunkers. Very well done. Has himself 8 Marines on the map now. So very decent. Is also going to get another command center. So he's got a command center that's going to sit there, not build. He's got another command center that's going to come down just in case this command center gets bored and just blows itself up. And we also going to get ourselves down a factory as well here. So very decent here. That is one damn busy SCV. I will say that. So we did finally get one to build up over here. Builds that turret here. We'll build a second turret. And like I say, has that factory going down. He's going to be very intrigued to what he's going to get on a factory, considering he's been working on 1 barracks the entire game here. But at the same time, his opponent here is going to go. It is going to be straight Colossi here. So very heavy on the gas. I will say that much. Is a very heavy gas and mineral build he's choosing to do. So it does build 2 more pylons. Definitely do like to see that. Definitely want more than that 1 pylon supporting all those buildings here. Meantime, there are these 2 Stalkers still untouched. And we are finally going to expand in space. Okay, where the fuck are you going, son? Okay, apparently he's going to expand over here. And I would have to imagine this one's going to expand either here, or maybe even here. Or maybe he just likes to sit it down there for a little bit. Probably going to turn it into an orbital first. We'll soon find out. There we go. Stargate. So it is a 1-1-1 build. So we are going to probably see ourselves some siege tanks coming out. Maybe even some Widow Mines. But with the tech lab going down, more likely siege tanks are going to come out of this baby here. So this one's going to fly way the heck over here. It will eventually get itself expanded. A little bit of a hidden expansion there. In the meantime, if we take a look at our units tab, we are only 11 minutes in here, but we do have 3 Stalkers, 2 Sentries, to the whopping 9 Marines of PQD. So we will sit back for a bit while these guys macro up here. It is 76-233. PQD by no means is moving very fast. I will say that much. iAmCaNaDiAn, you are moving what looks to be lightning compared to PQD, but not overly fast at all either. But you do have an observer out, definitely recommend it. So finally going to get some vision on the upper ground as you realize he can't move through that wall here. So he will get that over here, which will definitely help him see how far ahead he is in this game here. And we do have a ton of turrets going everywhere. He's really prepping up for some sort of air attack to come his way here. Holy wowzer, that is 6 turrets on the ground here. Has 3 more, 4 more, 5 more coming here. 6 more. Wowzer. He is not pissing. There's another turret over there. Is he preempting this massive Void Ray attack or Oracle harass? I'm not entirely sure. But we will end up actually losing the observers. That observer doesn't really get a whole lot of intel for a good man of iAmCaNaDiAn over here. But iAmCaNaDiAn in the meantime has amassed himself 3 3 Colossi, 3 more on the go, 6 Colossi on the field. That's a lot of Colossi damage here. Definitely need some supporting units for the Colossi there. Maybe a few more Stalkers in the front, or at least some Zealots to take the brunt of the damage here. But either way here, it does look like it is time to move out here. He does feel he's got enough of them coming out, especially with the other 2 ready to finish up here. So he's going to move across the map here with 4 Colossi. No supporting units. He is one risky son of a gun, I'll tell you that much there. Definitely pulling a huge risk. That is a lot of losses he could take if his opponent has any sort of air units, especially with a couple Vikings or something here. But he'll eventually get across the map here. In the meantime there, we do have a floating orbital command. Apparently he had no interest in landing at all. Other command centers still not going anywhere. Really have no doubt in my mind that this is a Bronze League player. but that is quite fine. We all learn at our own pace here. So he does come in and he will start taking out the upper ground here. We'll go to work on the turret. The turret, of course, can go to work on those Colossi here, but he will end up cleaning up those turrets quite easily. We'll clean up those Marines in a couple shots here. Going to work outranging that bunker quite easily, so he'll end up taking that down here. Has basically killed the entire army of PQD now, so very well done there. And we'll continue to go to work on the high ground here with his Colossi there. These Colossi is going to start going to work here. Oh, needs to back out of that turret fire. Not the best engagement for you. Way too far ahead on that bunker there. Not too sure why he engaged right in there. But we'll end up losing 2 Colossi. Finally using his range, but Siege Tank's got better range. It's going to go to work on him. Two Stalkers going to try and get in there and do a little bit of help here. Finally has this Colossi just out of range. Oh, not quite out of range at all here. Banshee finally hits the field here. So Banshee will definitely help him out. In the meantime there, we do have a lot of units moving across the field there. Another Colossi is going to get over there. 4 Colossi are back on the field here. Ends up losing one of them, so 4 more Colossi will come try and support this here. Banshee's going to go to work. So he will amass his army just outside of his base here. Has a couple sentries as well here. And there's the rest of the Colossi. He's going to move them down there. Did manage to get himself a 3rd up and running here. Meanwhile, his opponent has 3 bases. I can't say that much. He has 3 orbital commands and 1 working orbital command. Yeah, like I say, I've never seen an orbital command float up. Maybe he thinks that it can suck the minerals up. Maybe he's got like some flying SCVs that kind of pick that shit up and fly it up there. I'm not entirely sure what PQD's mentality is here. Where the fuck is he flying this thing? You got him, but you have a patrol pointed command center. Very interesting. Okay, apparently want to keep him out of range here. But in the meantime there, all these Stalkers are really going to go to work here. They'll melt away at that siege tank. Needs to get him in range of these 2 siege tanks here. Not that they're sieged up at all there. We'll melt those 2 there. Working on these turrets as best he can here. Going to go to work on this one whopping bunker that we have here. So that will eliminate a quarter of the production that we have for PQD here. Banshee's going to go to work. Of course, nothing much that he can do there. Banshees will go to work and finish off all of these Colossi. And we'll continue to move down some more Immortals here. Really needs to get some more Stalkers on the map here. And a Void Ray will be the choice here. So Void Ray will get over there. So very well done. And they will clean up that last Stalker. But in the meantime, it does look like that our good man iAmCaNaDiAn has done the damage he needs to do here. This is also a floating one that has flying SCVs that can somehow mine to it. There we go. Finally dropped this one down here. Some mules are going down here. So he's actually not doing too bad now. Has finally clued in here and maybe got himself maybe a little bit more knowledge of how the expansions work. And these Immortals say, screw this, we're not good for Banshees, so we are actually going to head right back to base here. And over at base, we do have ourselves some Voids out, 2 Voids altogether here. So finally has himself the counter to the Banshees, but we'll need some vision, of course, as they do have cloak technology. And of course, with his 3 base, definitely running a way better macro game than his opponent here. And so he's got himself on 3 gate, 1 Stargate, or 3 Robo, 1 Stargate, and still have a floating command center there. And nothing mining over here. No need to build workers. Why not? You only have, what do you have there? Only have about $850 in the bank. Don't want to overexpend yourself here. Meanwhile, his opponent here also has a fairly high bankroll, just not a ton of gas. He's going a very gas-heavy type build here. He's planted himself down some more turrets. Apparently, he feels turrets are the counter to Colossi. So he has a lot more turrets going down. I mean, turrets are definitely handy, but definitely not the #1 counter to Colossi. We'll say that much here. So it does look like iAmCaNaDiAn has amassed a fair bit of an army here. 3 Colossi, 2 Stalkers, 3 Void Rays. And there we go, another gateway going to go down. We are finally getting our 2nd and 3rd gateway at the 18-minute mark, so not too bad there. And we're, holy Christ, we're definitely going crazy. Might want to expand 1 or 2 more times. This is a very hefty build you're going here. Here we go, 3 Robo, 4 Stargate, massing a very gas-heavy, mineral-heavy type army here. In the meantime there, has finally landed down the other orbital here. He's starting to figure out the expansions. PQD is here, you see. At first he wasn't too sure about the landing procedure, and now he's got to figure out the building of worker procedure. He knows how to make the mules, but apparently doesn't know how to make SCVs. So he's at least got the look like he's expanded, which I do like to see. Like I say, we all learn at our own pace here. We're going to get a 4th command center that can fly out and plant itself in front of the minerals for good looks. And we do get in there and we realize there is no 3rd on the base here. Also realize that there is no expansion as he's been there a few times here. But if he did know that PQD was on 3 base, it's almost like a hallucinated build, you see. He's got the bases, but they don't actually do anything. So I think that's what he's going for. Maybe hallucinated command center build here. So we do kill the rocks off here. And here we go once again on the higher ground. We are going to go to work with that nice vision he's got there. They'll clean up the few turrets here. These turrets really are the counter here. So far, that's the only thing working for him. Widow Mines, finally. Very interesting. We do have the Widow Mines, but of course they have vision. And there is the cloaked up Banshees there. Doesn't really have an answer for these, though. Excuse me. So he might actually be in a bit of trouble. Heavy Marauder on the ground, but of course way too heavy of the Immortal count there. So those Banshees will easily clean this army up here. Definitely needs to get a lot more Stalkers out here. Banshees, he might actually have a very good build going here, as his opponent doesn't really have an answer. iAmCaNaDiAn is going to lose a lot of units to these Banshees here. Banshees going to clean up the rest of these Immortals here. We'll go to work on the last couple Stalkers. I would have to imagine these masked up a bunch of Banshees here. What does he have? 6 Banshees there. They apparently don't want to do much. He's just going to leave it to the 1 Banshee, 1 Marauder there. So it does clean up the army one more time here. And we'll put another Widow Mine on the outskirts there. It does have these 6 Banshees. If we moved them out there, he could actually do quite a bit of damage. But at the same time, we do have enough voids at the other end there that would be able to clean them up quite easily here. And we are still electing to not expand. Okay, perfect. Just making sure he hasn't built any SCVs over there. I don't want him to learn too fast. It's a lot to absorb. You know, it could be, like I say, his first or second game. I never want to prejudge anybody, but definitely not the greatest player in the world. But that's quite fine. Like I say, might be learning, might be really drunk, might be blind. Really could be either one of those. I'm not entirely sure which one, but it has himself a lot of Banshees. Well, 8 Banshees on the field here. So he's going to sit back for a little bit here, relax. He has himself up to 59 food to 116 of iAmCaNaDiAn. And iAmCaNaDiAn there definitely looking a lot better. Wowzer. iAmCaNaDiAn is not pissing around. We're bringing out the 6 Observer army here, so 6 Observers will move in. I'd have to imagine once they hit those Void Rays, he might look to move in, but at the same time, he's got to remember that his opponent has a ton of turrets on the map here, so might not be exactly the best engagement for him here. Might want a little bit more of an Immortal count to clean up those turrets, but we'll soon find out what his choice is going to be here. Holy Christ, we're not 9! We have ourselves 9, the 9 Observer army here, 12 altogether here. Not too sure where the other 3 are, but either way, that's a massive amount of Observers. Not too sure if he's really worried about a massive amount of Widow Mines, or maybe feels like Observers can attack. I'm not entirely sure, but that's the most Observers I've ever seen on one team. That is quite a bit, especially when they're not being patrolled around for map vision. And it does look like he's going to send a scouting out probe here, or maybe look to plant himself down the hidden expansion. Hey, we have some SCVs going here. We are now moving along here. Now if we take a look at the income tab, not looking too bad as a mass ahead of his opponent here. So very well done. He is definitely picking this game up at the speed of lightning here. Not looking too bad at all here. There's a couple probes there. They're going to go around, look to expand in many different locations here. Going to bring in the rest of the voids here. Going to bring himself in some Zealots to support on the ground here. And will now look to start pushing himself ahead here. At the same time, his opponent only has the 1 Widow Mine at the bottom here, but has a lot of Banshees to work with here. That is a total of 10 Banshees, so not looking too bad there. And there we go, did clean up 1 here. So he knows the army's coming here. He's going to fly the Banshees right in there. Don't know if that's the best of his moves here. His Void will melt Banshees very, very quickly. Finally pulls the Observers out. Doesn't want to lose that massive amount of Observers, or maybe he does. He's going to fly those Observers in 1 more time here. Going to coax down the Marauders there. It's like holding a carrot out there. The Marauders end up pulling down there. And he's going to start going to work again here on the rest of the Banshees, on the rest of the SCVs. And should be able to clean up the Banshees and the supply depots there. And we'll start going to work on these turrets. That's a massive amount of turrets, a massive amount of Banshees. Cloaks the Banshees anyways there. And did he actually run out of Observers here? Let's take a look here. 2 more Observers are left here. He's going to start going to work on the rest of these turrets here best he can with this. There's the 4 Banshees, 3 Banshees left there. They're going to try and clean that up there. Cleans up that turret as well. You're going to go to work on the starport. Cleans up the rest of the Banshees very easily there. And it does look like GG might be coming his way here. In the meantime, he's also attacking with the probe down there, so very well done. And we'll clean up that other turret there. So base somehow took out all of his turrets there. That was a lot of turrets he had on the map there. So very well done. Can almost already give my congrats to you, iAmCaNaDiAn. You have successfully completed the Friday challenge here. Your opponent was nothing special, but you did complete it. I will say that much here. And I do believe that should be the end if the opponent chooses to leave here. Or the opponent might just watch the rest of his base get melted up here, as he really doesn't have any more of an army. He is down to 15. And all 15 of those are basically in SCVs, other than that 1 Marine that just got melted there. And is continuing to build at least here, so he's not giving in as of yet. But we'll lose that barracks before any more units get out, so that's not going to do him a whole lot of good. And there goes the production building. So he is now down 2 supply depots and command center. And he chooses to build an engineering bay. PQD, what the? Build 2 engineering bays. Okay, why not? Might as well start getting upgrades for the units you don't have. Fair enough, so we're going to get 2 engineering bays. Or maybe he's looking to get into mass turret, and maybe feels he needs 2. And is also going to get a barracks. So definitely hasn't given in as of yet. Maybe hoping those turrets are super turrets. But they end up going down there. We'll end up losing these last few buildings here. And that should pretty much write him off here. He's down to 11 more SCVs. We'll realize that those turrets cannot take out this mass amount of voids here. And we'll kill off the last turret in his base and move themselves across to the last remaining expansions. And, of course, why not? Let's build another engineering bay. Oh, engineering bay does get canceled there. That is too bad as the Zealots get in there and start going to work on the rest of his SCVs. 3 observers still remain, 4 observers altogether. And there goes the rest of the voids. They're going to all get in here. They will massacre this command center here. And we'll then manage to go chase down the last command center, I would have to imagine there. And that will be the very last building, as he has absolutely no units on the map here. But what the hell, why not fly that baby off? We got 2,300 bucks. We can go re-expand and possibly win this game. We'll soon find out whether or not Command Center is faster than Void Rays. I can almost promise you Void Rays will outdo it there. Very good game. I actually like to see good game out of him, realizing he was decimated. That is what I like to see, a polite ending to the game, even though he got massacred. Very well done. My congrats to you, iAmCaNaDiAn. My condolences to you, PQD. Make sure you're not mashing the wrong keyboard, especially when the corded phone isn't plugged in and you don't have a leather wallet. You be good. Don't hurt nobody. Peace.